Hello, I'm Jali Bawatta, and I'll be presenting my work for GD408 Work Like a Designer module. So, starting with the first, we were asked to design and come up with an alphabet poster with the pictures that we took from surrounding, from shop fronts, posters, or billboards. I first started making a visual analysis of how like most posters and signages are, and I made a typeface mind map where I could be categorizing it, and I made a layout for the pictures. And this is my first attempt where I just took pictures of the alphabet, the letters, and put it together, and I sort of reviewed it myself and sort of changed stuff and made this final design. The next one was drawing letter forms, where we were given smaller versions of fonts and asked to draw them sort of in large form. And I again started my RVJ with the little tip to sort of guide me and write the letters. From there, I got this layout. From my first attempt, I sort of analyzed where I could have uh, paid more attention to, specifically on a typeface. And I sort of kept the grid on the initial font and made this. Moving on. The next one was lyric poster, where we asked to make a poster on a song of choice and sort of analyze the mood, the concept, and everything behind it and make a poster of. This is my first attempt where I drew it by hand as a sketch. And we were asked to keep 3 fonts maximum, but here the first attempt has a bit too many going on and the spacing could have changed. Again, I sort of revived myself and sort of jotted down what I could have done differently. From this, I got to this, which I did digitally. And again, it sort of, the spacing could have changed a little bit and it just isn't readable enough. So I started off with the mind map where I could analyze everything of the song and the band in the background. And I made a mood board, the sort of the analyze the aesthetic of it. And I also looked at other lyric posters and sort of jotted down what I like and dislike about each poster. And from there, I got to this, where I sort of analyzed and put it together. The next one was the gasset layout. I sort of sketched down how I could present the gasset document. And from there, I got to this. I also did a mind map where to sort of remind myself of the stuff that I should pay more attention to while making it. Was my first attempt, and it sort of feels very tight together. So I changed it and made some space in between and make it real clear and clean design. The next was the Glow poster, where we were asked to make a sort of a warning poster for gloves. And I sort of picked the industry of cosmetic manufacturing, and the company will be the British Cosmetics. My target audience was the production makers, and the problem that I saw was this controversy that went around in 2019 for a lipstick brand where they've used fabric gloves and the threads of the fabric just went into the product and it looked really contaminated and people were really upset about it. So from there, I sort of analyzed more into the specific glove and how to be used, the material and everything else. So from there, I made a mind map about it and sort of narrowed down the ideas and then some layouts. And this is the first attempt where I just explored around the background, the placement of each, the illustrations and everything. And from there, I made the first attempt where it had so much work need to be done and the design was just clashing everywhere. The placement, the font size were just off. So I switched from there to another design where right now it's almost there, but also the illustration and everything just feels very tight and the placements could have been changed. So from there, I made this final design where it's quite cleaner and easy to just look at. The next was the film booklet, where we were asked to make a booklet for one of the two movies that they were given. I chose Ran, and I sort of explored the background of it, the info, the basic facts that I could put into the booklet, and some inspo on the side with pictures. I also analyzed the style, the visual elements, the typography that I could use. From there, I made a mind map where I explored the background information and my TA, which is Film Enthusiasts and Collectors. And I also wanted typography that sort of reflects the Japanese culture, also with the hint of modernity. So I used brushstroke and typewriter. So for the imagery, I used actual scenes that are from the movie itself and some illustrations. I mainly wanted to bring out the burning castle, the effect of like the burns into the design. For the cover, I wanted to have a little dramatic feature to it. So I used transparent sheets to create that. And for the overall design, I wanted to give subtle hints of scrapbook without actually making it a scrapbook because scrapbooks usually have just images fully. But since it's typography class, I wanted to have just subtle hints of scrapbook here and there with more focus on the typo. So I also did the layout exploration with the portrait and landscape and some uh, samples for the book pages. I wanted to have the vintage, really rusty feel to it because it sort of captures the very raw reality, the movie itself. So I wanted to create that. I also wanted to go chaotic with the design because the Ran literally translates to chaos. So I wanted to add that little hints here and there for the design as well. I went with stitch bound for the stitching process. These were my experimentation. I printed out the initial ideas and I sort of reviewed again and sort of analyzed why it's good or bad and sort of wrote them down. This is another exploration where I just narrowed the idea down to just few colors and few designs where it could have just been very simpler rather than overwhelming myself. This was the last set of printouts, the exploration that I got with the paper that I chose and everything. This is the page layout that I did on InDesign, and since papers need to be folded, the printing setting has to be changed because of the way that it printed double side was quite complicated for me. And so I made it simpler, and I also wanted to save the paper because it was quite expensive and it was hard to just risk the set of paper that I bought. So I wanted to be really careful with the printing process and the setting. These are some of the physical examples of the books that I saw at the book fair this year. And I sort of took pictures where I could have used as an inspo. And this is the front cover, the final design. And the back cover, I used the VHS design on it and to use the Japanese stitch bound as well. Uh, the printing process was quite difficult because I had to get the whole thing printed almost 5 times due to the printing difficulties that I faced from the places that I went to the printing shops. Especially the printing was quite hard to find a good place because of the paper texture was quite difficult to print on. So I had to find a laser print, but also since the page thickness is uh, quite thick, most of the places I went to did not accept the paper to be run into the assistants. So I had to find a place that actually play printed laser and also um, allowed me to run that paper through. And the process was really difficult and it took too many tries to get it right. Again, the alignment wasn't really good, but since given the time I was kind of unable to redo, uh, I wasn't happy with the final printout, but given the time, I couldn't really do much about it. Thank you.